January 2012, a mysterious organization released an intricate puzzle on the internet, saying it was looking for highly intelligent individuals. The group issued a new puzzle the following 2 years, until its latest one couldn't be solved. It remains a mystery to those who still are trying to crack it 4 years later. No one knows who's behind the puzzle or how the latest piece can be decoded. Where might the solvers find the answers they're looking for? And is there a way to truly find out who's behind Cicada 3301?
The key has always been right in front of your eyes.
Good luck, 3301.
Continue for 1 mile.
One Vegas. Are we meeting up with Nox tonight? Yeah, that would be awesome.
I've known Marcus probably close to 6 years now, and I've never had the opportunity to meet him in real life.
Self-parking, yeah.
And to be honest, I was actually really nervous. It's one thing when you talk to each other all the time online, but you would never know how you're going to interact with someone in real life once you actually kind of get there.
Hey!
So after years for some of us working on the Liber Primus, we decided this time to go to DevCon. It's the biggest hacker conference in the world. Cryptography, internet security, all that sort of thing happens there. We had really high hopes. If we were going to meet someone who could help us solve it, it was going to be at a place like this.
Whoa, what'd you do?
We made it awesome. If anyone was going to know crypto puzzles, you would think it's Crypto Village at DevCon where they do their badge puzzle every year. These are the kinds of people to actually help us. This is where we're going to find them.
Oh, I'm gonna pull the FCC idea for this and find out what kind of radio chip it is.
Oh, we need to set your username. Hold on.
Wait, what should we call it? Piano Baby.
It's got a Wi-Fi and a Bluetooth module.
So too.
I can't identify the antenna, but it's right here.
So the keys were actually designed by someone here named Whitney.
Yeah.
But if like this is the kind of stuff she's designing, I think she might be kind of interested in Cicada.
Yeah.
I bet you should have some things to say on it.
I think she would be fun to talk to. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excuse me, are you Whitney?
Hi.
I'm Marcus.
Marcus, nice to meet you.
I'm
Hi,
Nox.
Whitney.
I'm OneCool.
Whitney, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
See, you got one of our badges.
I did.
I really love the key designs.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much.
Did you take a look at the Cicada stuff?
So I've seen a little bit, but I don't know what the text they're referring to is.
Oh,
That's where you guys are stuck, right?
Yeah. I have a copy of it. It's 58 pages of...
Encrypted runes.
Yeah.
So I was way worse at puzzles until I started designing them, because then you start to think differently about it.
Yeah.
And then you also learn that like it's much harder to design a puzzle that's solvable in a certain period
Oh,
of
yeah,
time.
absolutely.
Like I've screwed people over. Our last puzzle was 2 years ago, and it took people 3 weeks after DEF CON to finich it.
Wow.
And it was intended to be done in 3 days. Yeah, way easier. Yeah.
Do you have anybody like around here that maybe...
Any
might,
Crypto Village
like,
people who might be into this sort of stuff that we could...
Yeah, so Maya, who I think is at she helped me design the puzzle. She puzzles all the time.
You think it's unsolvable?
No, I actually think it is solvable.
How do you know it hasn't been solved?
I mean, we feel like somebody would have said something, but also the Cicada group, so they have a PGP key that they sign all their puzzles with.
They've only said probably 2 things in the last 2 years, and both times it was just, hey, keep working on that.
If you were gonna make a puzzle and like never reveal yourself, and you wanted it to just like be famous forever, you wouldn't like make a solvable puzzle. Maybe there's just no solution to it, and it's just there to keep people interested.
I don't know, like, so there's a puzzle that's too short, right? It's like something like 150-ish characters.
Oh, yeah.
That has not been solved for like 200 years, right? And it's supposedly it's the doorbell cipher. And 200 years later, it's still unsolved.
We threw the book at it, honestly. We don't know what to do now.
So now we're at DEFCON asking random people.
Why do you think it's only the max size of the page? Are the pages always independent?
I have a printout of it.
I'm not gonna like magically solve it by looking at it.
Like, it'll help.
So we were really excited to show her the Liber Primus. And really quickly, we kind of came up against one of the biggest challenges with the Liber Primus is there's so much background information that you need before you can even start talking about it.
This is the runes.
This is the alphabet.
Okay. So this is really built around English specifically.
Yeah, very much so. And also, what we've been looking at is really old, like Friedman papers about data when E's match up with E's, that sort of thing, which is pretty consistent with what we're looking at.
It's a stream cipher is what you're describing. Yeah.
You take someone this talented, this much crypto knowledge, and show them something like that, and it's just like, I don't want to say stonewalled, but it's a little bit what it is. We tried a lot of stuff. Actually, too much stuff to usually remember in a day. Like, we have to go through our notes and be like, oh yeah, we tried that for like 2 weeks.
Think of all the other things you tried in the last 5 years.
It's a little obsessive.
Just a little.
It kind of started to dawn on us. I guess we weren't gonna get so lucky as finding someone standing around at a conference who would really help us with a breakthrough.
Solving the Cicada puzzle requires public access to strong encryption and the free flow of information. These ideas flourished in the early days of the internet at the University of California, Berkeley. That's where I'm meeting Bill Marczak, one of the leading figures in the contemporary debate over digital rights.
So tell me about this place and what is its place in the history of this debate?
Well, right now we're standing in Soda Hall. This is the computer science department here at UC Berkeley. And UC Berkeley was one of the intellectual hubs of the resistance in the first crypto wars.
In the early 90s, the internet was a new and little understood thing. But even then, scientists could see the potential threats to privacy that governments posed.
Whenever you send and receive electronic mail, it can be opened without your knowledge. They can look over your shoulder and see what web pages you're visiting and what pictures you're looking at and what political ideas you're being exposed to.
A group of hackers began to organize to fight for internet privacy and digital rights.
They were graduate students, professors, staff. They call themselves the cypherpunks. And their desire was to create systems and platforms for encryption and anonymous communication and make these freely available.
We're investigating Cicada. And some of the people we've talked to think that it could have a link to the cypherpunks.
Well, back in the old days, the early 90s, the way that you communicated, especially online, was you had something called a mailing list. And anybody who sent an email to this alias, the message would be immediately forwarded to all the subscribers of the list.
Who all would have been on this mailing list?
So it initially started off with students, professors, researchers at UC Berkeley, and gradually expanded to some people that we know today. For example, Julian Assange from WikiLeaks, the creator of Tor, Roger Dingledine, and others who were very instrumental in creating a lot of the tools that we use every day to be anonymous or to encrypt our data. The mailing list was an email address at cicada.berkeley.edu.
So you're saying that the principal means of communication between the most influential, resistors of government interference in encryption and in privacy issues was called Cicada.
There was a server right here in Soda Hall that was called cicada.berkeley.edu. While I believe in coincidences, this one seems too much to be a coincidence, right? You've got this term, cicada, used in the cypherpunk context, and then used by this group 3301, which is espousing very much the same ideals.
I was really glad we got to go to DevCon. It was a lot of fun to be able to hang out with Nox and OneCool, and I had no idea what to expect. We worked on the Liber Primus a little bit. We basically ran around DevCon asking everybody we could find what they thought of this puzzle. And at first I thought it was weird to just run around asking people for help with puzzles, but then people started asking us for help with their puzzles. And I was like, okay, we can all be happy with this. Being able to walk around and physically talk to people and see if I could get somebody to admit to something. I didn't honestly believe that we were going to solve the Liber Primus. People have been working on it for years. A lot of really brilliant people with a lot of different ideas, and a few people have gotten a few pages, but nothing that's like the Rosetta Stone to solving the Liber Primus. There aren't a lot of security cameras on the corners of buildings around here. There's that one, which is
unusual. But
That is weird.
yeah,
What do you think that's pointing down at all the vent systems?
it's likely, yeah. Yeah, there's nothing you can see from there besides all the catwalks.
It's got to be the vent. Or it's the long distance to the pool, but that's a little weird.
No, they wouldn't do that.
I haven't ever worked on a single problem as long as I have worked on this. People might say we're crazy, but I'm just gonna work on it. I don't care. Once you have a problem that spans years, it's more about perseverance and sticking with it than like walking away.
It's not bringing back any memories for you.
While the puzzles might have been interesting, that wasn't a particular thing that I would have focused on back then.
The cypherpunks from the Berkeley mailing list may have at least inspired Cicada. I'm trying to track down some original members of the group in the hopes that they might provide some insights.
I was looking at PGP in its infancy.
That is the exact thing that's killing us. Pete, is there any way in the world to figure out who that is behind a PGP?
Not if they're careful. I mean, it's sort of the same thing as trying to figure out who owns a particular Bitcoin.
Anybody who has the kind of expertise to build this kind of thing and might be part of Cicada probably, if they were around at that time, cypherpunks probably would be a place that they would be. The cypherpunks manifesto, it was, cypherpunks will make the internet safe for privacy. And clearly that's a design goal, or the philosophy that they're espousing is the individual liberty and the ability to protect oneself.
So I guess the big question is, if this really was a cypherpunk, do you think we have any chance of finding him?
Well, if it really is a cypherpunk, you're probably not going to find him.
Why?
Cypherpunks know how to protect themselves.
Thanks for your time, man.
Hey, my pleasure.
Bye-bye.
To solve the Liber Primus, we've tried a lot. It was my first year at DevCon. I had no idea what to expect. I wasn't necessarily expecting anybody to help us solve it like that. It was more kind of meeting like-minded people that really enjoy solving puzzles. So, what should we do? Go in the room?
I mean, yeah.
RoomCon? I haven't given up because I feel like if I give up and everybody else has given up, then it's over.
We might take breaks, and who knows how long that would be, but I think in the end we'd always, after this much, it's what is it, the sunk cost fallacy? That puts so much into it now that there's no way I can just give up on it, right? Yeah. We had a somewhat unsuccessful day looking for some outside help.
It's something with my desktop manager.
What are you doing? Operation not... Oh.
I told you, man, you had Wi-Fi on when you started it up in DEF CON, and then you put the disk in it. You're just asking for this shit.
Can log in.
You got wrecked. We're a little bit down. We're kind of questioning whether this was necessarily the right decision, and OneCool got hacked as if we kind of needed one more thing out of that day. We haven't been here for a day.
And you got owned by the conference organizers.
That's amazing, though. I'm so thrilled. I was hoping one of us would while we were here.
Aww.
We've been crisscrossing the world from Las Vegas to London to Berlin to San Francisco in our pursuit of the mystery that is Cicada 3301. We've hired one of the world's top digital forensics firms to see if Cicada's left behind anything like a digital fingerprint. Any trace that could reveal their identities or anything about them. Anything at all.
We have great reach into the open, deep, and dark web, so we pulled everything that we could find about Cicada from those sources. We then coupled that with human expertise to look through the puzzles that were set up, and you look at the infrastructure behind them and maybe who set them up or any other identifying information like that. And what you're seeing here is really the volume of discussion that we've seen over time about the Cicada group. Cicadas are being discussed in the criminal and hacker forums as much as it is in the open internet.
It's just incredible to me. In this year of this century, you can still do something this big, get this much attention, and yet somehow stay secret?
I agree. I think that's one of the most extraordinary things about this. You know, if you look at the cyber criminal groups, you've got things like Silk Road, and most recently the Hansa marketplace being taken down. And those guys had millions riding on it and were incredibly careful with their security. Cicadas have been incredibly careful with their OPSEC, their operational security. They haven't given away any clues. And it's very unusual that that's the case. When you look at these other cyber criminals being apprehended by the authorities, often they've left something out there, some clue. Could be a username, could be an email address, could be that one time they didn't use a VPN to obscure their IP address when they connected.
You have to give them some credit. I mean, it's just when you live in the concrete world, you want there to be a concrete explanation. And so I'm alternately frustrated and alternately in love with these guys because they can do this. I went into it thinking that everybody said it was unsolvable. And you want to believe that you can always solve whatever's there. Do you actually think that this ever will be publicly solved?
I think that's down to the people behind it and their motivations here. I wouldn't hold your breath.
It was our last night in Vegas. We're in this parking lot. We're just hearing this weird noise. You can like see the realization dawn on Marcus. And he goes, guys, that's a cicada.
We found cicada. How fucking ridiculous is that?
Oh, I see it. Yeah. Yeah, right up there.
To just be standing there kind of at dusk with these friends I've made through this, seeing this for the first time, it was crazy.
I didn't think I'd hear cicadas in Las Vegas.
I'm from Canada. We don't have any, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I've never heard one in real life.
I don't know. I kind of want to, like, find one.
People do tend to say in Cicada there's really no such thing as a coincidence.
To 3301. My name is Bryan Burrough, and I'm reaching out to you today as part of a multi-part documentary series. I'm writing in hopes that you may allow us to open a line of communications through which we might seek your guidance on some of our conclusions. We would enjoy a chance to share some of these observations with you as well, in hopes that you might shed some light on the durability of your handiwork and the ideas behind it. It is a marvel. Thank you for your consideration, Bryan Burrough.
The single greatest value that Cicada has had has just been one of education. They were teaching us to be able to do these things should we ever need to. It's not gonna suddenly turn into a world where you just can't build privacy software anymore. But if it does, we've got it covered. That's the idea.
I want it to end, but I want to solve it. I think it's possible. I almost feel like it's way easier than we've made it out to be. So I'm gonna be embarrassed when somebody else solves it and they're like, oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, you know?
When I first joined Cicada, I was driven by the urge to find out who they are. By now, I think that it is actually best if we never found out who they are. Magic is not as much fun if you know how the magician does his tricks. You sometimes think, what if there is no solution? What if this was intended to be unsolvable? Then you can either be very frustrated because you wasted a lot of time, or you can figure out what you have learned. And sometimes I think Cicada is about the friends you make along the way. Fuck, I did the meme line, holy shit.
We've all kind of made each other better. Cicada puzzles have kind of built this group of people like each other. You kind of have to wonder if that was part of the point the whole time.
I always enjoyed the theory that we made it so we would have real friends.
If I had the chance to directly speak to 3301, I would tell them, thank you for introducing me to the people that have been in my life for the past 4 years. Also, you don't want to see your work go to waste. You should give us a hint so that we can solve your Liber Primus, because you wrote a whole book for us and you don't want us to read it. That's awful. Don't be assholes. Give us a hint.